My guest today is from Frontline Care Solutions. He's Dr. Drew Dwyer. He's a gerontologist and he's a resident gerontologist with Frontline Care Solutions. And he's here to talk to us about something that I think should be on all our minds: online learning and compliance training. Drew, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Wayne.
Now, Drew, let's talk first of all about generally online learning. Is this a practical way for clinicians to learn the stuff they need to know?
In my space, and I'm quite biased about it because I've probably been on the journey of learning from different methods and methodologies, but in a higher end space, it's all about pedagogy and the learning framework. But this learning framework of being in a classroom and being face-to-face taught traditionally is more expensive and costly and doesn't really fit into the lifestyle of a busy person, and particularly a busy person who would be a clinician with quite a bit of education behind them, already in a process or format of how they like to learn. And online learning is, for me, probably the most flexible form of delivery you can give a learner, particularly the high-end learners who need to pick up a specific skill, refresh a specific skill, continually to professionally develop themselves. I find online learning is probably the best for flexibility to the learner's time space, and specifically for delivering information, preferred readings, and competency, believe it or not, through an online platform. So we can deliver these things really quickly and very well as a endogogy rather than a pedagogy. So endogogy is a conceptual learning. So I basically create material online that allows the learner to pick out the pieces that matter to them most and leave the other stuff because they're probably already over-experienced in it anyway.
Now, Frontline Care Solutions is a leading provider in this space and has a very big learning management system. Does it cover mandatory and other training?
Yes, we developed a long time ago. Actually, we were one of the first people in Australia to enter the online learning platform for aged care and community services. And the reason we really did it was because a lot of people love the materials we give and the courses we do and the teaching we provide, but it's, as I said before, it's more expensive to get into a face-to-face room, and these people just don't have the time. So our LMS has been built cloud-based, and you can access our LMS from any device and into the internet, and you can download, watch, and do your courses at any time that is necessary for you. We have a range of courses that meet compliance training and regulatory compliance, so standard courses for all staff that are employed in industries. And these compliance courses are very specific. They meet accreditation standards for staff, and they allow people to get on with the basic trainings that they need to remain compliant to the business and for the business to remain compliant to the government that accredits that business. So we're going to have other attributes to move into in the LMS, extended learning and courses for people to do that want more education and different type of learning. So the LMS is quite a broad platform to play in, but why we do what we do is the bigger corporations, of course, have used us in the past, understood what it is we do, and then they develop, purchase or buy their own LMS, learning management system, which is great. In Australia in particular, and I suppose it's the same probably overseas, is a lot of the providers who give care and provide care services are small providers. And of course, they can't afford the extent of money outlay and process and focus to deliver a learning management system to their staff who are busy on the go. So we invite them at a very reduced rate to come and enter our system, and our system will develop a platform for them, even badged in their company branding so it looks like their own LMS.
I understand that there's annual mandatory compliance training required, and some of the things you cover are manual handling, infection control, elder abuse, workplace emergency response. That's a huge scope of stuff to have in your learning management system. Does it go beyond aged care?
It does. We have the ability, because we're teamed up with a partner, and a very big international partner of ours, and they have a broad, much broader repertoire in their library, that we actually have the ability to pull down that library, contextualize the information to a specific industry if we wish, or examine that information in that library and that course or that program to see that it actually fits into the aged care, community services, disability domains. So from a healthcare perspective, much of the basic regulatory training is general. So it doesn't matter if you work in a hospital, in a nursing home, in a community setting, in disabilities, or in children's services perhaps. The general compliance to the national standards or international standards will always remain the same. It's generally the use of language in these courses that we adjust or change. But in general, I find most of the broad-brushed compliance training is as good for anybody in any situation. It's really about how fussy the organisation is about having it contextualised. Some subjects for us specifically will remain in the realm of aged care when we talk about elder abuse, neglect and care, when we talk about duty of care, when we look at the training on manual handling of human beings rather than boxes and heavy equipment. It's much more different and focused when we're dealing with a frail, vulnerable person with a disability. So a lot of our training in this area is contextualised, it's delivered through video and through competency. And as you say, it can be general or it can be specific. It's about what the organisation specifically wants. And they work with our team of specialists to handpick or pluck the eyes out of the fish, if you want to say it that way.
As soon as you go into compliance anything, there is an administrative burden of record keeping and proof and evidence. Does your system provide that for employers?
Absolutely. It's one of the most impressive things about our system. It has an administration section that the organisation itself is trained into managing. So a manager on a single site or a group manager over a whole group of sites at any point in time, live in the cloud, is able to pull reports and have a look at the progress of people, the standards that's being reached, the compliancy of people completing or not completing. And the system even allows you to pull reports that will allow a educator, for example, to nut down where the problems in training are so that they're not bothering the rest of the team with further training. They can identify the individuals who may need more and further trainings on specifics, and that generally could be course of English second language or competency skills. What it also allows, and some of my clients really love, is at the moment in compliancy, there is, in a regulations framework, there's unannounced visits where auditors from the government will just arrive at the front door of a business and audit them. Now, this means that you'll have to produce a report immediately. So our system allows a manager, a supervisor, or a leader to be able to pull and download a report in different formats, software formats, so that report is live and it can be done and presented immediately. One of the other things it allows, particularly in our business of healthcare, community services and aged care, is if an organisation, for example, has an outbreak, a flu, a virus, an infection, it will require mandatory requirement to retrain staff, refresh staff, and do things with staff. This is hard to do when you have staff spread out over many sites in a big company or over many sites in a small company. What this system allows people to do is to send out emails to people, advise them that they need to go straight into the learning management system, undertake a revision course to make sure that the company and its staff are up to date with best practice and compliance. And when the auditors walk in, they can see that that has been achieved within 24 hours of the incident occurring. So that part of compliancy and being responsive and reactive when necessary is very good to have in a service like an LMS.
Now, Frontline Care Solutions has been at this for a long time, and I'm sure you understand business is business. What's the cost like?
Well, on average, and how we express and show it to our clients that are interested, you can train and keep competently trained a staff member, even the lowest paid staff member, so that people, and it's a terrible phrase, but it's how business people speak, the hard or low drag staff. So the staff who require the most training are always the staff who are least paid and have the less time. And trying to burden them with more and extra further training and online training and things can become a barrier. And so we basically register this cost out and give it to them as you could have a staff member fully compliant, ongoing and trained for around about $66 per person per year, which is very, very cheap considering the amount of learning and compliancy training that we offer. For our professional people and registered staff and more higher end staff, there are packages and bulk buying that we have. So the more you buy, the less you pay. But what we do offer as I said, in Australia, more than 60% of providers are smaller businesses who don't have major budgets. And we also construct these frameworks or tables to suit those smaller businesses so that they can get the benefits of being a big company at a reduced rate for just being a small company. So it's much more cost effective for a smaller standalone business to come to a bigger platform like ours because we already have the volume. We can issue it out a lot cheaper to them.
Drew, it does sound like Frontline Care Solutions have put a lot of thought into this over the years and have built a system that's, I know, highly regarded in the industry. But for those people who are like me, perhaps a little cynical about these things, how do they know that what you offer is up to date and created by industry experts? Okay,
well, if it's material produced by Frontline, it will always be up to date because Frontline guarantees that we are an evidence-based practice and we connect ourselves with the best evidence of science, teaching and learning. If it's material that we're being given or we're downloading or using within the platform of our other provider, Kineo, who they are, then they actually contract Frontline itself, and for part of our role in their partnership is we review the materials that they offer and make sure these materials on an annual basis are quality audited and reviewed by specialists, instructors, facilitators to ensure that the quality of the material that is being offered to the users is up to date, is evidence-based, and if not, our compliance or our quality system allows learners or users to question the quality of the material and, of course, us to follow a continuous improvement cycle to update that material if there is a doubt.
I know in addition to the LMS, you also run face-to-face and on-site training. I understand you've got some ACFI training coming up shortly, face-to-face. Tell us about those.
Yes, aged care funding instrument is a big issue for anyone in Australia working in the residential aged care facility or nursing home traditionally. It's the funding instrument that supplies money to cover gaps in care for elderly people. And of course, a nursing home has to validate the care they give by an algorithm that maps against a funding instrument, so like a calculator. And that validation is quite strict. So to learn the system, to understand the system is one thing, but to learn fundamentally how to implement or build a framework of good governance so that ACFI, the aged care funding instrument, is not the focus, but more the end result, that it will always map. So our course, our face-to-face seminar teaches people a framework about how to understand the ACFI, how to seamlessly bring it alongside your assessments, care plans, directives, and the way you manage healthcare, so that the end result is when there's an audit, the validation is seamless, integrated, and will meet compliance. So that it's about holding on to your money. If you're a business, you don't want the money being dragged away by the government because they will take any opportunity they can to claw back on you. And it's really the primary thing is to make sure the client, the patient, the resident, is getting what they deserve from the system because they are entitled to it.
And Drew, you're running those as seminars around Australia?
I do. We run those seminars all over Australia at different times, and they are face-to-face. We also have an online version, a fully recorded version of that seminar for those people who can't attend face-to-face because it is more expensive, time and cost, but much more enjoyable because I'm in the room. There is an online version which is video recorded in segments, and people can also go online for a much reduced rate and get the same education. So again, it's flexible to those who want to be in a room and ask questions and feel the learning method and to really nut it out, or those who think they just need to brush up and can go online and hear from an expert to find out that they've got the things they need in place. What we do offer through Frontline is everything we teach and everything we offer also has a downloadable space in our LMS or our cloud where the forms, the tools, the policies or procedures and things we support our teaching with are available for download in the cost of the training program.
So, Drew, there'll be people listening to us who have said, hey, that Dr. Dwyer is a pretty clever guy. I want some more of him. I want some more of Frontline Care Solutions. How can people reach out?
People can go to our website, www.frontlinecaresolutions.com, all one word, lowercase. And there they can find us and connect with us and talk to the team here. I, of course, is just a figurehead and representative, so you won't get to talk to me. But I do have the ability and do get called in regularly to talk to the higher end clinicians and educators and facilitators who are really struggling to build a learning platform that's going to suit their business in a bigger scope. So on a general basis, contact my staff. They're pretty good at what they do, and they're a good team of people. We work on the front line. That's why our name is Frontline. And of course, our logo represents a specific thing. It's two people embracing. The heart-shaped head of the person is the carer or the person giving care wrapped around the person receiving care. And everything we do in our vision and mission is best outcome for the residents, people who get care, best outcome for staff, and best outcome for business. So everything we do, touch, make, and sell, has got to have those three measurements in it.
Drew, it's been a pleasure having you with us. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Wayne.